Alright, welcome back everybody to Cool's Reviews. As we get closer and closer to our Billy the Kid bracket, we wanted to check out more and more Billy the Kid films, or at least ones that we're putting in the bracket, and one of which is definitely a unique take on Billy the Kid, though I guess not too unique because there's that other movie with vampires and Billy the Kid. But this one is Billy the Kid versus Dracula. Long awaited that we finally get to talk about it. I know we saw the poster, well, at least I knew about it, but we saw the poster in Fort Sumner at the Billy the Kid Museum, and I was like, oh, we gotta watch that sometime. Mm-hmm. So we finally got around, and it's unique. I will say that. Definitely gonna have to talk spoilery for this one, so just spoiler warning right off the bat.
Yep.
No warning. Actually, I mean, you guys were just warned, but going into spoilers, let's talk about this film a little bit.
I mean, I definitely liked it. It was interesting, weird, historically accurate.
It's definitely not historically accurate. It's definitely not a good movie, but it's entertaining and fun to watch.
I mean, it was an alright movie for a 1966 film.
Yeah, 1966. I mean, 5 years after One-Eyed Jacks. Again, the quality we watched, definitely not Criterion on this one, unfortunately. I don't think they have a Criterion on Billy the Kid versus Dracula. I'm sure someone has a boutique version somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere there's gotta be. But in this story, it's about Billy the Kid and Dracula. And Dracula is so strange how he is in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, clearly not of the time. Like, doesn't even wear Western clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen those, like, really nice Batman figures, but they have a Western Batman, and actually looks like he's from the time.
The Western.
Yeah. This one clearly looks like they were just like, what if we took Dracula, made him, like, the most generic villain? Like, if you picture a villain of the 1960s, even kind of with that mustache, where they could twirl it, mix it with Dracula, you would get this movie. Or at least the Dracula in this movie.
Yeah.
And my favorite part is his eyes, because he's always just like, and his eyes get like super big.
Yeah, like really wide-eyed when he's like hypnotizing people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and the only time anyone thought it was weird was when Billy the Kid, like, saw it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, people were just like... And at first, I didn't know what he was doing when they ran into that Native American girl.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just, like, staring at her, and she was just staring back and not saying anything. And I was like, I don't know what is happening right now.
Yeah.
The bat CGI is great. It's not CGI, it's a practical bat on a string.
Yep.
That flies very much like it's on a string.
Yep. I mean, it's the 1960s, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a B movie, but it's a fun B movie. I would say in probably the same vein as, like, that Chupacabra versus the Alamo movie we watched, which we should do a review sometime.
Yeah, we should.
We should have the whole group watch that since it was...
I mean, that one was a little updated and, like, had some more visual effects in it.
But it's kind of the same. Like, you mix something historical with something supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward story. Dracula's killing young girls, always just turned 18. So kind of creepy on that front as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, like, is riding in a stagecoach in the middle of the night with his family. And this family's already, like, weirded out by him, but then just, like, divulges their entire life story to Dracula, including the picture of her daughter, who is dating Billy the Kid in this film. And he decides that's going to be his mate. She just turned 18. He looks like he's at least 105.
Well, yeah, as kind of vampires would be.
So Twilight.
Well, not really.
I mean, he was like 100 and something in Twilight. He just didn't look 100 and something in Twilight.
Yeah, but there's no sparkling going on.
No, but he walked around in broad daylight too. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, he was a daywalker.
Yeah, did not burst into flames or nothing. He did like caves and silver mines. Yeah, I guess he was asking for a cave and all they had was a silver mine.
An abandoned silver mine.
Objects would just show up from time to time, not in one scene, in the next.
Mm-hmm.
Torches that weren't there just were there.
Right. Then he would just like appear in front of the door and nobody questioned it.
Yeah. I was like, there's a scene.
I'm not gonna say anything. Like,
yeah. There's two like main scenes that brings to mind. One is he like comes into the bar, like the saloon, and just appears and like no one says anything. But like Sam said, perhaps they're drinking. They just didn't pay any attention to it. But the one that I really liked was when he flew into the doctor's and just appeared.
Mm-hmm.
And it took her not seeing a man just manifest in the room. It took her to like move the mirror and him not show up in the mirror to know some shit was weird.
Right.
And then when he notices that she noticed something was weird, it might be the greatest scene in this movie.
I mean,
one of two actually. There's the end battle scene was pretty good too.
The end battle scene was good.
But tell the audience how he reacted when he sees the doctor with the mirror.
So he basically looked at her and with the mirror, and then just like looked at her, and then was just like, yeah, and like,
and just ran out.
and ran out.
Didn't use any magical powers. Just like was like, no, I'm just gonna run away.
Right.
And she was just like,
yeah.
And then the end battle scene's kind of in the same vein because the sounds Dracula was making as he's like trying to strangle Billy the Kid sounded like they got like stock sound of a puma, and it was just like
Yeah.
and then
Which he probably was making those sounds.
it's actually pretty possible having heard the first one. But how they defeat Dracula, like, I don't know why I never thought of this, because bullets don't work. But Sam, do you want to let the audience know what could work? If you ever come across a Dracula, what should you do if you have a gun?
We're talking about that one. So the bullets were empty, so they threw it at him, and it knocked him out.
Knocked him cold. Like, he was out cold enough that Billy could, like, casually get the stake, walk over, and then just, like, pound the stake in with a rock.
Yeah, pounded into his heart.
And then, I guess Dracula, like, died, so it released, like, the spirit of Dracula, or whatever, like, this plague is, in a sense.
They kind of do that kind of same principle in other movies, like in Underworld, whereas, like, those who are infected by, like, I guess you can call it like a disease, it's almost like a virus or an infection. Those, like, once the original host dies, essentially, it reverts everyone else back to their human form. So it's like a curse almost, I guess.
Yeah, because then, like, he instantly just, like, turned to a skeleton, and
Yeah.
the bat flew out and was, like, dying, moving about the same as it did when it was alive.
Yeah, the bat was doing something. I mean, it was dying, but it definitely didn't look that way.
I'm trying to think what else. There's, like, lots of fighting scenes
Yeah.
between Billy and I don't even know the guy's name now.
One of the wrench hens.
Yeah, one of the ranch hands
Wrench hens, Jesus.
is like doesn't like Billy from the start, and then once.
Well, because I think he wanted to be with the
Oh
daughter,
yeah,
but like
he was wanting to be with the daughter, and then
with Betty, as her name was.
yeah, and then Billy like stole.
No, I think she just had it more fancy in him than the other dude. And that's what.
But then I guess his other like being angry was like Billy was a better ranch hand and got like his job too.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the mother of Betty dies via this vampire sets up the Native Americans
Yeah, it triggers them into thinking that it was them.
Thinks it was the coach. Then the Native Americans wipe them out. Dracula steals Betty's uncle's information. And luckily this happens in the 1800s, 1900s, I don't know, but early on, where
They don't question somebody without an idea on them.
yeah, they don't question, hey, this random guy, there was supposed to be 4 people in this coach. There's 4 people in this coach. This guy doesn't have papers, even though he's supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily it's at a time Betty's apparently never seen her uncle.
Right.
It's not like in today's society where even if you live far away,
Or it may
you
have
at
been
least
like
know
a
who
long time ago or
Yeah.
something, and maybe didn't know how he turned out after a couple of years. Who knows?
Yeah, but he just like steals the paperwork from her uncle's corpse, and so that's how that ranch hand's like, I'm just gonna get on the side with, him. Underhill is what he was
Yeah.
his, yeah. And then he like tries to like fight Billy a couple times. Ends up getting shot by Billy because he goes in the saloon, and they have like a shootout, which had another great scene in it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like the vampire guy, Dracula, like popping up.
But it was the bar.
But it was
bar
like,
hand.
yeah, he was like looking over the counter, like, what's going on? And it's just like, oh, we forgot
The one thing I want to talk about is like the bite. So like the bite has like 4 marks, which most vampire things is just like 2. Well, at least modern vampires. But this one was like 4, almost like a wolf bite.
Yeah, it makes you kind of wonder, like, obviously vampires, we think of them with the 2 canine teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But do they have, like, in this universe, do they have, like, the bottom ones, too?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'd have to leave that mark.
I mean, if you look, he has them both right there like that.
Oh, yeah, we got the poster up here. He does have... So
4.
apparently, I don't know, maybe we've got to do more research on vampires. Maybe we've been looking at them wrong the whole time.
True. Bats would have both sides, so it kind of makes sense.
Right. How would you judge him as a vampire?
I mean, for the time it was, I would say it was good.
He was definitely creepy. I mean,
yeah.
like I said at the beginning, he looks quintessential Dracula meets like a stereotypical 60s mustache twirling villain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, he has a pretty good stage presence. It's not like 10 out of 10 acting, but I think for the type of movie it is, it's entertaining. It could have been a lot worse. Honestly, I was expecting a whole lot worse.
I mean, didn't know what to expect because like they kind of did like an opening credits, which is not something films do nowadays. Like, so I wasn't expecting that, and it was a good at least like 5 or 6 minutes of just opening credits. So it's just like, it's the majority of this movie gonna be this, and then it's just gonna be like a brief film.
Right. Yeah, it brings us back to like our childhood where you had those like, I remember like Spider-Man had, X-Men I think had long opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big thing.
Star Wars.
Well, like Star Wars has the crawl, but they were like one of the first movies to put the credits. Or they're credited for being one of the first. I don't actually know, but I know it was a big thing where they put the credits at the end of the movie to have the opening crawl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely, of its time, it actually is quite a bit of sets, I would say. We have like the town, which honestly might just be one of the towns from Little House on the Prairie, like where they filmed that. I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, there was a scene where the Native Americans were chasing the wagon.
Oh yeah.
And they came over the hill, but you couldn't see them come over
I
the
forgot
hill
about that one.
because the sky was just pitch black.
Yeah, like half the screen was black and they would just appear out of it.
Yeah, you would see them, like, once they get decent on the hill, you would see them on the hill, and you're just like,
It's just like, what happened? Like, did we forget some CGI?
And then they would go to the next scene, and you would see a blue sky.
Yeah, just like they get on the other side of the rocks. I don't know where they filmed it. Like, you almost forget about the beginning. Like, once they get to town, like, you forget the whole stagecoach. So, if you're talking about sets, you got the stagecoach. You got their first stop where he kills that Native American lady.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the scene where...
Then you got the beginning scene with, like, that one daughter and the family. And then you see them in the town later, and then he, like, finishes her off, I guess, by killing her.
I don't know if they, like, had 2 daughters. Like, I guess I didn't catch it at the beginning. Either they had 2 daughters and he killed one off, Or it's the same daughter, we're not quite sure.
I'm pretty sure it's the same daughter just because the face looked familiar. But I could be wrong because they came into town talking about vampires.
Well, and like what was weird about that too was the daughter was talking about vampires, and they're like, "No, honey, there's no vampires." As soon as she's murdered, the mom was like, "All right, here's all this stuff you do to go against vampires." I was like, "What? Like, why didn't you do that at the hotel? Like, that's how he came in, because he just flies through the windows, and they have like a flower that they put in the windows, and then he can't get in."
Wolf's Mane.
Hmm.
They had the Wolf's Mane flowers.
So now you know. Wolf's Mane flowers.
Garlic.
Yeah. I mean, it could be better than garlic. They had no garlic.
They didn't have garlic in the movie, but I'm just listing off them.
Yeah, so now you know. If you want to keep them away, put garlic. Put
Wolf's Mane.
put some of those out. You know, keep a gun handy. It ain't gonna kill them, but you can always throw it at them. It'll stun them instantly. And then just keep iron steak. I mean, was it an iron steak? It was just keep a steak handy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think it
Classic
was an
vampire
iron
101.
steak, but like a steak, I think it's the most any steaks.
And remember, there's only one test. One test to see if anyone is a vampire. It's not if they fly in and just appear out of thin air.
Or dress like completely
Out
different
of
than
the
the
times. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a mirror.
It's the
Always
mirror.
check a mirror.
Yeah.
They don't have a reflection.
Yeah, don't worry if he just appears out of nowhere. Don't worry if he looks like he's from like 60 to 160 years
a
ago.
good sign of it is when they walked into his room, he flipped the mirror. So that's kind of a sign that.
Yeah. Well, you would also think, okay, coincidence, possibly, right? But this guy comes into town, looks clearly not of the times, possibly. But
this could have been around the time where Boston did dress a little bit more fancier, so I guess that it wouldn't be.
He even has like a quintessential red cape.
Yeah, I know.
Like he has the red vampire cape like the entire movie. And
well, they don't know about vampires like we do, Keegan.
No, but then okay, so he shows up right at the same time. He shows up. Disappears.
No horse or anything.
The stagecoach and 4 people are dead. That family either lost 1 or 2 daughters. All these animals are being murdered, and everyone's like, it's probably fine.
It's just like shit happens all the time, and it's just like, wait, no.
What kind of town are you living in? Like, what's happened, you guys? Do we have other Billy the Kid movies we need to check out? Like, was there like Billy the Kid versus Werewolf Man? I mean, I'd watch that. Billy the Kid versus Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Mothman. Bigfoot.
I mean, I don't know. Next up, I mean, not next movie we'll watch, but at some point we got to watch that Billy the Kid versus vampires again, but it's the female Billy the Kid. And just see how modern take of this movie, because honestly, we would love to remake this movie. We got a Billy the Kid actor already, with Jeremy, and just we could retool that movie a little bit and put some more quality on that.
True.
Yeah. See, if you guys want a remake, let us know. Cool's remakes Billy the Kid versus Dracula could be a thing.
Could be.
So Sam, ratings and recommendation. It's at least enjoyable. I don't think it's a good movie.
Oh, I would say 10 out of 10. This one's definitely getting a vote on my bracket, that's for sure.
I think, I will say it's a watchable movie because it's, like I said, it's one of those it's so bad it's good, but it's not super bad. Like, it's decent. I thought it would be worse.
I don't know how I feel about it.
But it's not a good movie.
I would say, I don't know, I would give it a 6.
Yeah, I was going to say
7.
like
I'll do a 7.
For me, I'd probably say 5. Movie quality, maybe a 4. But enjoyability,
I mean, you can.
It was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable.
You can't diss the movie quality because it was
So
a 1966 movie. I mean,
I tell you guys, go watch it. go watch it.
Yeah, I would say go watch it too. It wasn't bad. It's only an hour long, which it's not bad compared to like the 3 hours that movies are becoming nowadays. So
No, and
hour ain't terrible. I mean,
if you go in expecting like a 10 out of 10 movie, probably be disappointed. But if you want a fun movie, sit with some friends, maybe have some popcorn drinks, it's going to be the movie for you.
mm-hmm.
Be
Be
perfect.
very confused at what's going on and how many.
Yeah. When things just randomly appear.
mm-hmm.
Nah, there's our review of Billy the Kid versus Dracula. It will be making at least one more appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And
It might be a couple more. We'll see.
it'll definitely be in our Billy the Kid bracket that's coming up here in March, but we might do a movie face-off where we pit this one against the Billy the Kid, the female Billy the Kid versus vampires, and tell you guys which one we like better. So if you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments below. But until next time, for more Cool's reviews, including quite a few Billy the Kid movies, click that link around my face somewhere. To see more about us here at Cool's Paranormal, click over Sam's face. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe.
Switch that notification bell for personalized to all if you want to be notified on any of our upcoming videos.
And let us know, have you seen Billy the Kid versus Dracula?